Hello. Okay, great. So, hi. I wanted to jump in today just to talk about nonviolent communication because I recently had a conversation with Amruta from A Prepared Adult, and we started diving into nonviolent communication, but it's such a big topic and it can seem really overwhelming. So what I want to do today is give you a real life example of something that happened to me this morning that I was able to use nonviolent communication, and it totally shifted how the rest of my day went. So I'm going to give you a little background. We live in a condo that has only one parking spot, and we have two cars. Right, so I have kind of an old car that I can park on the street, and my husband has a fancy car that he really, really, really loves to park inside our parking spot in our garage. But yesterday on the way back from Nature Club, my kids fell asleep in the car, so I had to park in our garage, and then I forgot to move the car out. When my husband came home, he moved my car out, but as he usually does, because he's so absent-minded, he forgot to put my keys back in my bag, right? And he does this all the time. We've had a lot of conversations about it, but it just doesn't stick for some reason. Okay, so that's kind of the background. Now, this morning, I got up and I left for work around 6:15 a.m. So I come out to look for my car, and first of all, I didn't even know where he had parked my car. It turns out that he had parked it like all the way around on the back end of the condo complex. So I had to walk all the way over there. Finally found my car. I get there. I try to open it, and my keys are not in my backpack, right? Which is the only bag that I ever use. My keys are not in my backpack. So by that point, I was also already irritated because he had parked my car, halfway across the neighborhood, and he didn't even tell me where it was. So I was annoyed about that. And then I realized now I had to go all the way back home to get my keys again because he had forgotten to put them in my backpack. So I was so angry, and this was 6:15, right? I hadn't had coffee, I hadn't had anything. I was so angry that I honestly almost kicked the car door. And the only reason I didn't kick the car door was because about 15-20 years ago, I did, and I sprained my ankle really bad. And so I learned my lesson from there. But I was so angry that I stomped almost all the way back home. I must have looked like a crazy person because I was just like flailing my arms and talking to myself and just being a lovely model of what a prepared adult should be, right? But as I was walking closer and closer to my house to get my keys, I realized, okay, what would somebody do in nonviolent communication, right? And so there are 3 steps to processing something from nonviolent communication perspective. So the first one is how are you feeling, right? And so I was like, okay, how am I feeling? Okay, well, I'm feeling frustrated. So I'm feeling frustrated. And then what need is not being met that is leading you to be frustrated, right? So I thought, okay, what need? Okay, I need my keys in my backpack. What is that a need for? And I realized, okay, it's a need for order. I need to have order in my life, and that need is not being met. And so I'm feeling frustrated because my need for order is not being met. Now, how could I help my husband help me to meet my need for order? Well, I could be really specific about asking him to put my keys back in my backpack, and just being specific about where I want my keys put, as opposed to just, return my keys to me. Telling him specifically. So as I was walking back, I was like, okay, I'm feeling frustrated because my need for order is not being met. Would you be willing to put my keys back in my black backpack when you're done moving the car? And so as I processed that, it kind of empowered me, and it helped my brain to kind of calm down and self-regulate again. And by the time I got to my house, luckily, because it was such a long walk, I wasn't angry anymore. I was frustrated, right? But I wasn't angry, kicking the tire kind of angry. And so I went in, and here's where it gets messy, right? Because you have a plan in your head, and you think, okay, this is going to be great. I am going to, express my needs, and they will be met perfectly. But not everybody is going to be listening to your needs. People can be really reactive. And so here's what happened. I walked in and I saw my husband, on the couch, all comfy, working on his computer while I'm, traipsing back and forth and the condo at 6 a.m. And so I had to take a couple of deep breaths because I just saw him and I felt really irritated. So I had to take a couple of deep breaths. And so I just stood there, breathe in and out a couple of times. And he looked at me and I said, I opened my eyes and I said, I'm feeling frustrated because my need for, and before I could say what my need was, he said, oh, your keys are in the pocket of my shorts. And so he interrupted me, which was kind of frustrating. And it let me know that he wasn't kind of ready to hear my need, or that he was just, like a lot of men do, just trying to solve the problem as opposed to listening to me speak. And so I had to kind of go back and say, hold on a second. Let me finish what I'm saying. And so I said again, I'm feeling frustrated because my need for order isn't being met. Would you be willing to put my keys back in my black backpack after you move the car? So I was finally able to get that sentence out. And then he said, I was expecting him to say, yes, of course, I'm sorry. I will, from now on, I will do that. But he didn't. What he said was, well, I never know where to put your keys because I didn't know if you wanted your purse or your black backpack. Even though I know that I always use my black backpack, he was sharing with me that he was confused and that he needed more clarity in order to help me get my need met. So the reason I'm going into all this detail is because I want you to see how in real life, it's not just about kind of having a little phrase and repeating the phrase and, getting it out there. It's messy, right? These dynamics are messy, especially when the person you're communicating with doesn't have the nonviolent communication skills. And so what the gift of nonviolent communication allows you to do is to stay grounded in your needs and in your feelings and not get triggered by their lack of awareness. And so if you just kind of hear them and the message that they're trying to tell you, people are mostly wanting to meet your needs. They just need more clarity, right? And you need to kind of hold firm in your resolve and in your clarity of communication. And so, it was obviously a little messy, but what I realized when I was, I finally got the keys and I was driving to work, what I realized as I was driving to work was that I had zero resentment, right? So how when things, when you try to express something and people don't hear it, or you try to solve a problem and people aren't being helpful, it can be something that you kind of drag through the day, right? Like you stay resentful through the day. But because I was able to express my feelings, identify my needs, and then share how that need could be met, I wasn't feeling resentful at all. It was really powerful to me to think, I actually was able to voice my opinion, ask for help to get my needs met. And now I'm able to move on with my day without carrying that emotional burden. So what I want to leave you with is let's keep chatting about nonviolent communication. And I just wanted to share with you how messy it can be, but also how valuable when you can take the time to break down the different steps and really figure out, what am I feeling? What am I needing? And how can I get that need met? How can I engage others in getting that need met? It's not perfect because life is not perfect, but it really helps you go a long way to taking care of yourself, to empowering yourself and empowering others to help you. So if you want to talk more about nonviolent communication in the next couple of months, just drop me a comment and let me know what you find tricky about it or where you've heard about it so that we can keep chatting. I hope you have a great day. Take care.